Hello, and thank you for watching this introduction and live demo of the OpsMx Continuous Software Delivery System of Intelligence. Our product is architected to allow software delivery at scale through our intelligence layer. In this demo, we will show 5 key focus areas of our solution. Reduction in production failures through the Intelligent Continuous Risk Assessment. Secure delivery of software at scale through automated policy and governance controls. Reduce time to delivery through real-time approval and collaboration among stakeholders. Enhanced observability and traceability through comprehensive audit and visibility. And easy software delivery to multiple clouds through our easy-to-use orchestration layer. Okay, let's jump into the demo. To help us get oriented, we'll start with the application dashboard. This dashboard is a high-level overview of all the pipelines and the services that are being manufactured through those pipelines that are under management of the OpsMx Continuous Software Delivery System of Intelligence. To help us get started, we'll start by taking a look at one of the result sets for our continuous verification testing. Automated analysis uses machine learning and natural language processing models to provide a confidence score for the system under test and insights into how the system under test is different from the expected behavior. Automated analysis is used in a couple of different ways by our customers. Customers like Indeed use it to automate delivery decisions based on the score, while customers like Juniper use it to faster triage root cause analysis. The confidence score is based on both logs and metrics that are being generated by the system under test. One can use either or both in the analysis. Here, as I drill into this, as I've gone ahead and deployed this application to QA, I've wired up all of the data sources that are associated with this, so both logs and metrics, to be able to collect those things while the deployment's running and while the test suite is running against this deployment. And as you can see here, I've been able to isolate from the upwards of 7,400 lines of logs, I've been able to isolate the 4 log clusters that are associated with this. Now what we're doing here is we're using machine learning and natural language processing to, one, identify these logs as something that are unexpected or not as part of the baseline, and also interpret these log messages. So very easily I'm able to sort of categorize these things as error messages or warnings. I can alter these classifications if I so choose. If I come in and review this and say, that's not really something we need to pay attention to, I can reclassify and the machine learning model will learn. I could do the same thing with actually classifying or tagging a log cluster. If I get to root cause analysis, I can go ahead and actually assign it something, in this case a specific log message or a set of log messages, a cluster tag, and then ultimately document what that cluster tag represents. And so ultimately I'm able to very quickly and easily distill all that log information and only pay attention to the things that are important. I can do the same thing with metrics. If I look here at metrics, I can see, from this perspective, in this particular metric, what the baseline should have looked like or what the baseline looks like. So, as a guide to what this release should look like and what this release looks like. And as you can see there are significant differences. And so this was enough to drive the score, the confidence score, down to a place where I'm going to stop the pipeline and actually come in and review this data. And as part of reviewing that data, I can ultimately go ahead and start the process of correlating both logs and metrics in this context to ultimately be able to go ahead and actually surface what may have gone wrong. Now, the other piece of the intelligent delivery platform is around compliance. One of the largest issues that our customers face is the idea that when they set policy around pipelines or around software delivery, it's very labor intensive to make sure that these policies are being followed. Here, not the case. We've ultimately automated this process for you. So we give you the ability to go ahead and actually set the policies as you see here, create new policies as you need to. But ultimately, the idea behind this is to automate the process of evaluating those pipelines against these policies and giving you the ability to flag policy violations and ultimately stop pipelines. That is continued here as we look at the audit trail. So here, as we look at the audit trail, I can look at the policy audit and all of the pipeline runs that were evaluated for policy. Now, the audit piece doesn't stop here just at policy. It also extends to pipeline execution. So when we start looking at every time a pipeline was executed, I can ultimately go ahead and inspect the data that's associated with that pipeline execution as well. And so when we look at policy and compliance along with auditing, again, another pillar of features that the OAS intelligence layer sits on top of. Now, the other part of this that we talked about earlier during the initial introduction was the ability to go ahead and actually set approval gates. These are really a way to reduce the biggest friction in delivering at speed. By combining policy with approval gate info, one can automate the workflows without involving human decisions for most of the deliveries. And if I look here, one of the things that's tricky about approval gates is I can dictate that somebody has to approve something, but really the trick here is giving them the data that they need in order to be able to evaluate whether or not something should be rejected or should be approved. Here, again, I can look at all of the different pieces of data that the system has collected about this particular release and ultimately make that decision right from here. So I can evaluate the changes to the code. I can go right into Git and ultimately see what's changed. I can evaluate the various JIRA tickets that were associated with this and see whether or not these are in a proper state and the right folks have looked at this or approved this. I can also look at things like external security tools. So in this case here, if I'm using SonarQube to perform my static code analysis. But I could be using something like Twistlock or Aquasec to be doing my container security analysis as well. So any of these things that I'm doing that level of analysis on, I can come in here, I can look at the results of these things. Let's take a look. And ultimately, again, have all the information that I need in order to make a decision around promoting or rejecting this build. It's all right here at my fingertips and very easy to get my arms around. The other piece of this that we talked about earlier is, sort of the insights and the overview, the high-level overview associated with what's happening in my environment. Now, we talked a little bit earlier about the application dashboard. As you can see here, that gives me a nice high-level overview about the various pipelines that are associated with this and sort of what their current states are. I also can look at the delivery dashboard. Here, I'm getting a nice high-level overview of what is happening in my environment. The most active pipelines, the most successful pipelines, the pipelines that tend to fail the most, and then the amount of time it takes people to react to requests for manual judgments. All of these insights give me sort of a real high-level overview of what's happening in my environment that allows me to focus my attention in a specific area if I see something that doesn't look quite right. And then the fifth piece that I know we talked about during the introduction was around the actual delivery of software. And so when I look here at the orchestration layer and I want to look at continuous delivery, I can come over to, as an example, the SpecDrive application and drill into this particular pipeline. And as you can see here, there's very simple and straightforward from a delivery perspective or from an orchestration perspective. I can take a look at the configuration of the pipeline and you can see all the steps that were used here to ultimately go ahead and actually build this pipeline out. I can ultimately go through the process, if I want to, of exporting this pipeline to JSON. The other piece of this that's very, very straightforward is I can ultimately go through the process of deploying to multiple clouds. In this case here, if I were to configure this application, I can see that I'm configured for deployments to both Kubernetes and AWS. So again, a multi-cloud, multi-target workflow that can be set up here as part of our orchestration layer. So that is the really quick overview or demo of the product itself. Very, very straightforward, very easy to set up for our customers, and very quick to be able to start adding value immediately to the CD process. Thank you.